So I don't like to admit this, but I'm kind of an instrument collector. So in this video, I kind of just wanted to talk about some of my instruments. In particular, I wanted to tell you about my homemade instruments. So in this room, I have 4 to show you. There's one that had a broken string and it's dusty, so I can't show you that. And then there's one that's in the works. We'll start with this guy. This is a strum stick. It is a handcrafted block of wood with a hand-sanded pole of wood and high-quality fishing line? My dad made this one. He got bored one day. So cool features of this strum stick. The peg does actually turn. I'm sure that this instrument is made out of the highest quality scrap wood. The little fingerboard that he made actually works pretty well for what this is. It's a chromatic instrument. If you're really being generous, it has a range of 2 octaves. It's fun. Oh, goodbye, Mozart. This is another homemade instrument. I think it's one of my dad's most successful homemade instruments. It is a kalimba, or thumb piano. So I have a store-bought kalimba here to compare. I actually like the design of the homemade one better because to tune it, all you have to do is unscrew these screws, and then you can tune each note individually. With the store-bought kalimba, you only have 2 screws. And that releases some tension on this metal bar so you can move the metal tines around. Because you're doing small adjustments on so many little tines that are so close together, the tuning tends to be less precise. And it also means that I'm less likely to retune this. Whatever it's tuned to now is probably going to stay there until something goes horribly wrong. But with this one, I have the freedom to experiment a little bit. Another thing that's cool about this one is that the tines are so long that I can actually play them on the other side. So I think this is like F major 7. And then I got a little C major 7th. It also just has a super mellow sound. Whereas this one's a little more. So I think this one's a really successful homemade instrument. And it's made from scrap wood. This came from some part of a toilet. I don't quite remember what he explained to me, but it came from some part of a toilet. And now it makes beautiful music. The circle of life. My next homemade musical instrument is the thing that usually sits right here. It is a xylophone. This xylophone is a prototype, but you know, I wanted to keep it because A, it's an instrument, so therefore I have to keep it. B, we spent quite a bit of time on it. And C, I actually got the tuning to work, and I'm pretty proud of that. So let me just tear this apart. Show you inside the box. So originally our design was completely different, and we actually had a design where there were wooden poles coming up out of here and they held the bars in place, but that didn't really make a sound. So then we watched a YouTube video and it all made sense. We added these poles here, we changed the shape of the keys, and where the keys contact the poles is at the spot where they resonate. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to show you this over camera. Here are the little mallets we made. These are beads, these are chopsticks, and these are barbecue skewers. And we put varnish on them so they look very professional. So if I hold the bar here, that doesn't really sound like anything. That gives us a little more. And that's probably the sweet spot. So basically we have bars on those sweet spots so that they can actually resonate and make a sound. And then the way you tune a xylophone key is you basically just take a block of wood, and then if you want to make the note flatter, you sand this out here. And if you go too far and want to make it sharper again, you sand the edges here. And then what I suspected at the time that we were making this but didn't realize is that if you varnish the keys, that causes the pitch to go down, which makes sense now that I'm thinking about it. But anyway, we put little note names on each of the keys and then we varnished them, and then they all went down a half step. And I was like, oh, I can't let that slide. So then after I spent days working on the beautiful varnish, I had to just sand them again so that they would get back up to the original pitches. I ended up tuning it to just the first 5 notes of a D major scale, and I have 2 octaves of it. But because I didn't realize how tuning worked at first, I have F sharp as my note that looks like it's the lowest, and then D. But it works. My last homemade musical instrument to show you is this thing. This again was just supposed to be a prototype. This is supposed to be a lyre. Lyre? Lyre? I will say lyre. Oh, it's out of tune. As you can tell, I did a lot of the craftsmanship on this one. So we took a block of scrap wood, we took a chunk out of the middle, we took a chunk out of the sides, and then a smaller chunk out of here. I hate saying the word chunk so many times. And we got something vaguely lyre shaped. And then I put boiled linseed oil on this to make it look pretty. And we put nails down here to attach the pieces of fishing line. And then I took it to my room and I was proud of it, and it was sitting beautifully on the carpet. And then I stepped on the 2 middle pegs. So we had some scrap pegs and we just ended up using those, so they're not fitted perfectly. But I'm overall happy with this thing. I like tuning it to D, E, F sharp, A. That's probably like the most emotionally moving combination of 4 notes that I could have tuned this to. Right now it's a vaguely whole tone-y thing. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, I hope that was entertaining. I'll take any chance I can get to talk about my instrument collection. Thanks for watching.